get from version control, I'm going to, I close it, shade it on slate, again to slate. Slate, content, what's that? I click it wrong. No, it's not wrong. I click it wrong week, just week 9, and this is product list. So as usual, how to clone? Please clone, don't download zip. Because when you clone, you can refresh it. When you download zip, you cannot. When you also clone, you can switch between branches. When you download zip, you don't have branches. So copy this part, and then open Android Studio. What did I do? I click on this get from version control system and paste and click clone. Trust project, it is cloning. And this is based on the lab example, call it inventory. But name of inventory is kind of stupid because who will do inventory of something when data is on one device? It should be stored somewhere on the network, right? Otherwise, if device is lost, so what can you do with it? So name was wrong. I also changed the code the way how it's easier for me to explain it. It's not drastic change. I renamed it mostly and rearranged it. And I'm also using field. In the Google example from the lab, I highly recommend you to do, or at least read it thoughtfully. They use its name for the app inventory, and code is shorter because I added more things to it. So let me run it to show what it is doing. It displayed list because I played with the code, and it is local database. In your case, it's empty. So I can delete all of them to start from the same point. So if I click on list, I can do delete and say, OK, delete. Click on this item, click delete, delete. OK, so it starts with the message, oops, nothing is there. So when you start your program, it is this one. When you click, obviously, by default, it is a list to message, right? So this is default. When you add, it is add screen. On the add screen, let me zoom so it's easier to see what is there. Maybe unzoom slightly. Here it is. Product name, product price, quantity in stock. There are 2 inputs that are not implemented. This is what I mentioned. It will be done with use. Rating, it is number of stars for this product. And condition, it will be drop-down list, new, use it, whatever. So there is a date input and time input. It starts with current date, but you can change it by clicking this. For the date, you see it is changing. For the time, you can change whatever. OK. So when you do to-do list, I'm asking you to add date input, time input as a due date and due time. In inventory database, this feature wasn't there. But for to-do list, it's probably a good idea to have deadline, so you learn how to deal with it. Also, so this is how to add items. So, for example, pen, $2.45, I have 52 pence in stock, and I click save, and I return it back. Also, items are checkable, which is a great idea for to-do list, because this you can check, right, for to-do list. Inventory example doesn't have checkable items. It is just inventory. You cannot check them. So these check marks, how to make them checkable, it is for sake of your assignment. So you can checkable items in your data, in your to-do list, so done, not done. Right? Okay? So in inventory, this feature is not there. Also, they are editable. You see, you can add, when you click on this, it shows details. In details, you can select either delete or reduce by one cell. You see quantity. It's reducing by one. If you want, you can do like % done, whatever. But instead of your task, you can update. I did it 10, 20, 30% if you want. So you can implement something like this as %. Not by cell, you can do it, I don't know, drawing knob, right? You know, input if you want. This is optional. It won't be part of a set. So implement, make it as fancy as you want for to-do list. So how many % of this is accomplished, whatever, right? So this is not totally useless tool. When you want to edit, you click edit. It picks the data, what is entered, and you have option to edit stuff here. So obviously this is stored in local database. So let's see what kind of data we have. In data local, I have still one item called local product because it's stored in local database. So table name is product, and if you don't like column name as a variable name, you can always override it with column info. Column info is optional, and it's typically used if you don't want default name as variable name. So it's a demo of how to override it, essentially. I also use auto-generated ID. Also, please notice that I'm storing condition, and I'm storing date. In both cases, it's not default type for the database. Why? Because for SQL, there are several dates, and the SQL date is not compatible with Java date. This is Java date. Condition, it's my own type that I define it, and it is here in domain, and condition is new, like new, very good, good, acceptable. Right? In your assignment, I will ask you for this input. It will be category, like to do for job, to do for school, to do for personal, 3 categories. So it will be drop-down list for 3 categories. Drop-down list doesn't exist, it will be here. It is for next lesson. Since I'm using types that are not standard, I need to provide converters. Converters are applied automatically, type converter. You need to create class with functions that convert between something understandable by database and type that you provide. Right? So, for example, I want to store date as type long, because long is understood by database. So under the hood, it will be stored as integer, long integer. What they do, convert date.time is just long. It is long integer that corresponds to current date. It comes with date class. In backwards, date object, use it as a constructor from this long, and it will create date. So this way, database will convert between date object and long integer stored in database. Yeah. Also, I'm storing condition, which condition is my own type. I can store it as integer. So condition.ordinal will be integer of this enumeration type, starting from 0. So first will be 0, second will be 1, and so on. So this will be converted from enumeration type to integer. And backwards condition entries is the array of enumeration items, and you use index ordinal to convert it back to condition. Once you created class with converters, you mention it on top of product database. You see, type converters.class. Why I don't have this singleton here? Remember, I had, in the previous example, I had instance, there's the instance, blah, 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 some static methods to call it. And the reason is that I reused that code between two versions. One is without hilt, one with hilt. When I don't use it, when I don't use hilt, I really have to do it. If you use hilt, you can omit that part because hilt can create singletons automatically. So with hilt, you don't need to add that mess. So it is shorter. But you still need to tell the system how to create it. So inside of my data module, when you see provide database, remember that was room, database builder, right? Blah, blah, blah. So I copied this code directly into provide database. And since I write singleton on top of it, it guarantees to be singleton. So I didn't have to create that singleton and synchronize, blah, blah, blah. So it is shorter code. Because I'm using hilt. The rest is similar. I have a provider for DAO. In this case, product DAO is function call. In the previous example, it wasn't function call, it was a data field. You can either do it either way, it is interchangeable. And also I have repository. I'm calling function constructor of the repository with product DAO. So this is equivalent to that. What is extra complexity? Obviously, I have a lot of GUI in it. I have more than one screen, definitely. And now we need to wrap it up because it's the end of the lesson. So at the next lesson, I will start with explaining navigation system. A database is more complicated because we have more fields and we have also we need to do conversion. So this is extra step which is necessary to learn, but it's not a lot of steps. Libraries, it is exactly the same libraries. I copy-pasted them from previous hilt version. What did they add extra? No. There is one more extra library, but it will come up when I explain GUI. One more, there is one more.